Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live review of X-Men Dark Phoenix. I wasn't able to talk to the audience this time because it was a critics-only screening, and I can't go Thursday to talk to everybody. So I thought, let's try something new. Let's review it live. I got some people already in the chat room that are asking some questions. I'm going to review the film and answer some of your pressing questions. So let's get to it. X-Men Dark Phoenix is back. It's the Fox finale of this X-Men franchise that we've come to watch through the course of 7 films, not including the Wolverine movies. I've lost count of which ones really count because the whole franchise is a little confusing because Days of Future Past sort of combined things. So does The Last Stand work in the same timeline? I don't even know anymore how it all works. But let's get to what Dark Phoenix does right and sadly what it more does wrong. The film is an attempt to write The Last Stand. It's a version of the Dark Phoenix story, which they obviously tried to do with X-Men The Last Stand. For those of you who remember the first original trilogy by the X-Men, Bryan Singer. Ironically, Simon Kinberg co-wrote The Last Stand, which is very odd to me because now he has his really directorial debut to write and direct this version of Dark Phoenix. So part of me had high hopes that he would have come into this with a little bit more understanding of what to fix better this time, and I think he did. It definitely is better than Apocalypse. I want to start there. It's definitely better than Apocalypse, and it's better than Last Stand. But the biggest problem I have with the film is we haven't been living with this Jean Grey character. Sophie Turner's a fantastic actress. I don't know who plays Storm, but Storm, all these characters, Cyclops, they came in Apocalypse, and Apocalypse was just a damn mess of a movie. And so the problem is when you have this Dark Phoenix storyline, which in the comics, and I'm a big fan of the animated series, in the animated series, you have a lot of time to really get to know Jean Grey, to see her become the Phoenix, and then to see her really go villainous and turn evil. It's a fascinating turn that it doesn't really work because we didn't really get to know her. Sure, we get to see her a little bit in Apocalypse, but it is not a good introduction to this character. So sadly, no matter how great Sophie is in this film, no matter how hard they try, they're already up against the wall trying to make this story work. So instead of trying to get us to feel for Jean Grey and the Phoenix story, they give you a little bit more backstory, and this is not a spoiler, I mean, it's very early in the film, but they give you a little bit more backstory about her family, the tragedies she's been through, and how Professor X, Charles Xavier, has raised her as a parental figure. It sort of works. I didn't hate it, but it's just, again, my overall review of this film, sadly, is it's just not necessary. The entire film just feels unnecessary. They're trying their best. They definitely are going full force to try and wrap up this Fox X-Men world, and it's clear this is the wrap-up. Without spoiling anything again, they do go into this movie attempting to end it all and to really wrap things up and to give you a finale of sorts. So for those of you that are fans of this new X-Men universe, starting with First Class, which I love First Class. I think Days of Future Past was really great. Had problems, but worked. Is confusing. It had problems in that it was confusing how the timeline of combining all these films. How do you have Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy both be there? Does that imply that they are the same person? Are they in a multiverse? It's a little confusing, but I still enjoyed the attempt to combine things. And if anything, that should have probably been the finale of this, and we should have just rebooted it. But they continue with Apocalypse, which I think was a big mistake. I was not a fan of that film. And now with Dark Phoenix, they're attempting to right that wrong in Last Stand, and sadly, they just don't do it. Now, let me talk about some of the positives, because I've already glossed over some of these reviews. I know a lot of people are just bashing this movie to no end. There are some really fun action sequences. Once the X-Men are battling, which sadly takes a while to get to, once they are battling, there are some really fun sequences with Magneto and everybody doing, showing their powers. X-Men versus X-Men, X-Men teaming up again as they do. Those sequences are a lot of fun, and I did enjoy it. Jessica Chastain also plays an interesting bad guy. She's a great actress, so I was enjoying her. At the same time, the character becomes pretty generic, and her motivations are pretty clear, and she has no where to go. In the beginning, though, there's some villainy that I enjoyed of her character arc, but again, it just becomes very stereotypical of these superhero films. Nothing new, nothing exciting, nothing that haven't seen before. Overall, the film is just a bit of a mess. Like I said, I'm going through my notes here. It attempts to solve some of the problems from the comics. Yes, they go to space, but it doesn't really address the Phoenix story like we all want to. And how do you really address that story in a 2-hour movie? It's hard. You can't get all those beats in. And so they do their best with what they have and the characters they've built. And I do have to say it's better, but it's just not needed. It's the sad reality. Some action set pieces, some good performances. None of it really changes my review enough to say, yes, this was great. I mean, we're in a mecca of superhero movies. There's just so many damn movies. And I know there are people who are excited about this movie, who are excited about wrapping up this X-Men. I saw people on Twitter, I don't know if they were shills or paid by Fox or now Disney or whatever, but people who are genuinely excited to watch this wrap up. This is their end game, if you will. And so I think they'll enjoy it. I think people, if you do enjoy those films, you'll enjoy it. But if you are a fan of the better versions of those films and you're losing faith in this franchise, I think this will only disappoint you. There's nothing really new. There's nothing really that exciting. And there's nothing that surprising that I think is going to blow people's minds away. So sadly, it's a very middle of the road review for me. I don't think you need to go see this in theaters. I think you can. If you got A-list or something and you can just pay for it as part of your weekend movie ritual, go for it. I don't think this is something you got to go out in droves for. It's fine. It'll distract you for a couple hours, and it's better than some of the other ones. It is fun to see the X-Men together, so for that, I give it a slight edge up. But overall, sadly, can't highly recommend this film. I want to go over some of the comments because we are live to react to some of the things that people have said here. Let's see what people are asking. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Sorry, bear with me. Here we go. So, how was Jessica Chastain's acting? Great. She's great. I think she's trying her best with a character that she brings a little bit to, and it's creepy in the beginning, but then again, it becomes pretty formulaic. But I think she does her best. I do like the blonde hair, dead-eyed sort of villainy. She doesn't give a hell about anybody. It's a good turn for her. Should I see this or Godzilla King of Monsters? I haven't seen Godzilla King of Monsters, but I can already tell you, probably see Godzilla King of Monsters, because it's just so polarizing that I would be more intrigued to see which side of the spectrum you go on, because there are some people who are loving it and some people are hating it. I see it tomorrow, and we'll be doing another show about it. But I have to say, probably go see that one. Are you glad Fox's X-Men is dying now? Yes. I think this wraps it up well. I think this is an end to it for people who wanted to see an end for it. I don't think we really needed an end for it after Days of Future Past. It sort of really summed things up so beautifully and connected both film series. But Apocalypse messes that up, and this, I guess, attempts to right those wrongs, but not necessary. I do like Sophie Turner. I think she's a good actress. I'm excited to see the things she does. She does a great job here. I like the character who plays Nightcrawler. Storm's great. We do get some of the really iconic X-Men characters, and it's fun to see them in action. However, I don't know if we really needed to see any of them. So do we need to see more of this universe? No, I don't think we do. I think this wraps it up. I think it's time to take a break on X-Men, and I hope Disney does take a break on X-Men because we don't need it for a little while. Now, it doesn't mean you can't put these characters in piecemeal as we keep going. And let's introduce a new Wolverine in a few years. Maybe they do a Hulk Wolverine movie, whoever they decide to do. But I don't think we need a full-on X movie for at least another 10 years, as I said in upcoming Nerd Wars that we're going to see soon. So is it an inevitable reboot? Would you pick to be in an MCU X-Men? Like I said, I don't think we need to see this right away. I don't think the MCU should take this in. But is there any other X-Men character you would have rather watched a movie about? No, I think they've done it. They pulled the characters I want. A lot of people still want the Gambit movie. I don't really care. I was excited because the filmmakers and Channing Tatum behind it were excited about it. But I don't think we really lost anything in that. I want to see more Deadpool. I do think it'd be fun to see Deadpool with an ensemble. And use him more sparingly. I think you can pull that off, and I think that would be interesting. But no, there's nothing else I really wanted to see. Overall, Nightcrawler was not given any justice in the next movie. He does have a lot of scenes in this movie. Devin Coulson, there you go. And will I be doing more live reviews? Let's see. Maybe. Let's see how this does. Thank you for the comments. There's a lot more coming in here, but I can't read them all as fast. But I want to thank you for leaving the comments, and I want to get this up so you guys can watch it in time. But overall, that's my old Mystique, and I think she is about ready to retire. We don't need to see these versions of Mystique anymore. We don't need to see the versions of these characters anymore. it's done. It's over. I'm not going to bash the movie. I don't think it's the worst movie I've ever seen for an X-Men film. It's fine. There's a lot of people who there were people who were walking out. There were people who were complaining at the end of even my Tampa critic screening. I don't think it's that bad. It just is meh. It's just very meh, which is to me is a bad review because you want to come out of the movie excited. Woohoo! There was one moment I did enjoy with Magneto and some of the action. There's a couple cool moments. Michael Fassbender once again steals the show and some of the points. And there's a couple conflicts, but once again they try to vilify Professor X in this movie in a way where he was trying to do, is he wrong or right for not telling Jean Grey all the things that she did? That's really the plot of this movie. And I didn't really buy it as much as I wanted to. And that's the conflict of this movie that I just don't think holds up as well. I think it's fine acting, but the script's just a little weak. And I actually would have rather seen more of Michael Fassbender. When he comes in, things get more interesting. But it takes a while for some of these things to get going. Also, one pet peeve, which I will get some flack for, but there's just it's a very forced moment of the women are women that keep saving ass. When are you going to change the name to X Women? Is this line that Mystique says to Professor X. And I loved the idea of it. It's like a great idea, but it's so forced. And I'm so sick of these forced moments. I am all for equal rights, feminism, all this stuff, but to just the way they keep forcing these little lines in that just feel like we gotta, see, we have female heroes too. It's really just annoying me. Show me cool female heroes just doing awesome things without calling it out. We don't need to keep calling it out. Just do it. That's what we should have been doing forever. But these little forced call-outs just show that the whole movie is just trying too hard. And I think that's the biggest problem and the biggest critique I can give this film. So overall, I guess see it if you're a fan. Otherwise, wait for it on, Netflix, Redbox, or however you download your movies. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. A lot of people arguing whether they want to see the Gambit movie. Do you still want a Gambit movie? That's a good comment. If you don't want to talk about X-Men Dark Phoenix, tell me what you thought of that movie. But also, do you want to see the Gambit movie? Is there a Fox X-Men movie that's been left in limbo that you wish they'd make? Tell me about it in the comments below. Maybe we'll do a future discussion, Nerd War, about it. And stay tuned. We'll be coming out live Thursday with a live Nerd War here on Popcorn Planet. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and thanks for staying up late with me live. Have a good one. Bye.